This is a storage video for our distribution team and our stores that are going to be storing the product in their store. Obviously, the tinctures are shelf stable. These can go on the shelf. There's really no problem having these anywhere on display. As for the powder itself, we would recommend keeping it next to bee pollens or some type of product like that in a cooler section. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fridge, doesn't necessarily have to be a freezer, but we recommend that it's in a cooled place, like an open style refrigeration type of cooling spot.
Yeah, if you look at it, it's a live cell. It is, it's kind of like the smallest sized vegetable that you can have, right? Like if you keep bee pollen at room temperature over time, we know that you're going to lose nutritional benefit of that. The cooler it is, the less chances of the active microbes growing in it, the less chances of self-fermentation. Obviously, it's dried down to the point that it's actually 2 years shelf is stable. So if you were to keep it on shelf, it will be stable. It doesn't it doesn't possess a food risk, a hazard.
Yeah.
However, having said that, we like to deliver a pine pollen that is superior in quality. And to preserve that quality, the colder climate you keep it, the longer you extend the quality. So if you look at the viability standpoint, if you keep it at minus 18 degrees, you got an 8 years viability.
Yeah.
If you keep it at in the fridge, you got a 5 years viability. If you keep it on shelf, the viability drops down. You're not losing nutrients, but you're actually losing cell life. Yeah. So fridge is really the best kept place for it. Right next to bee pollen, that's where it goes. That's where it belongs as far as its food categories.
Yeah. I mean, and from a consumer perspective, I mean, seeing it there, like you'll have a lot of people inquiring what might be the difference between a bee pollen or a pine pollen. Pine pollen is obviously a single source pollen, has a lot of high androgen content into it. Another cool thing about pine pollen opposed to bee pollen would be that it's all coming from a specific source that's clean. I mean, a lot of bee pollens are out pollinating things from specific areas that we don't know where they end up going. There could be contaminants, there could be other things in the product that, such as, herbicides, chemicals, and all that kind of stuff that can be picked up along the way. Our pine pollen too, we also can ensure that it is vegan friendly. We know it's not being handled by anything else but us. No insects or harms in the process of getting our pollen. So I mean, that's another strong point on, having it in that specific area. It's obviously a person that is looking for a pollen source is going to go to that space. And then also selling it to the consumer from a place where we store the product in a freezer and then it's still in a freezer until it gets into their hand just sends a really good message that it's as fresh as possible. And I feel like that's a message we'd like passed on to the consumer.
Yeah, we're very grateful to be able to work with a distribution and with the stores. In fact, the stores are part of our partnerships. They allow us and enable us to be able to bring this product to you. And
they help educate people on the benefits of this product.
Yeah.
And really bringing awareness of a superfood that's in our own backyard. So we really appreciate every step it takes in order to get to the consumer's hand and how much of a role each step has to play in it to make this a successful product.